A black delivery man enters a bustling restaurant, mocked and laughed at by the very staff he's there to serve. What they don't know. He owns the entire empire. Marcus Bennett, a 50-year-old entrepreneur, had built Urban Flavors from nothing into Chicago's premier restaurant chain. Yet now, whispers of racial prejudice and abuse of power within his newest location cut deeper than any personal insult. Determined to root out the rot himself, Marcus shed his tailored suits for plain clothes. Disguised, he stepped into the heart of his own creation, unseen and unrecognized. Respect is a right, Marcus believed, and I'll stop at nothing to restore it. What he uncovered would shock you and inspire change. Subscribe now to witness a journey of justice, courage, and the power of standing up for what's right. Dressed in an old gray shirt, faded pants, and a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes, Marcus Bennett stepped into the kitchen of Urban Flavors. The smell of sizzling food filled the air as cooks yelled orders, and staff darted between stations. To everyone else, he was just another dishwasher, blending seamlessly into the background. But Marcus wasn't here to clean plates, he was here to uncover the truth. It didn't take long. Within minutes, Marcus noticed Logan Carter, the head chef, glaring at a young black waitress wiping down a table. Her hands moved quickly, ensuring every inch was spotless. Yet Logan strode over, slammed a greasy tray onto the freshly cleaned surface, and barked. "Missed a spot." The waitress hesitated, her shoulders stiffening, before quietly murmuring, "I'll fix it, chef." Her words carried no resistance, only the defeated tone of someone who'd been corrected unfairly too many times. Marcus clenched his jaw, his hands tightening around the sponge in his grip. "Why is it," he thought, "that respect seems to disappear the lower you go in the hierarchy?" As the morning wore on, Vanessa Blake, the restaurant manager, entered. She walked with the air of someone who believed the world belonged to her, scanning the kitchen as if inspecting soldiers. Her eyes landed on Marcus, who was quietly scrubbing pots at the sink. "You," she snapped, tossing a crumpled napkin onto the floor. "Pick that up. That's your job, isn't it?" Marcus bent down, his face hidden under the cap, but before he could reach the napkin, Vanessa kicked it further away, her lips curling into a smirk. "You better hurry," she added, her tone dripping with mockery. A few staff members glanced his way, some pitying, others indifferent, but no one intervened. Marcus straightened slowly, the napkin in hand, and returned to his task, anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. Later that day, Marcus changed into the uniform of a delivery driver, wheeling a cart of supplies through the restaurant. Vanessa's sharp eyes tracked him again as he entered a staff meeting. "What is this?" Logan sneered, his voice thick with irritation. "Why is the delivery guy barging in here?" "I've got your supplies," Marcus said evenly, keeping his head low. Vanessa smirked, leaning back in her chair. "Careful," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Not everyone has the skills to pull off a glamorous job like yours." Marcus stood silently as whispers of amusement passed around the table. Each chuckle, each sneer only fueled his resolve. He wasn't just observing a toxic culture, he was living it. The next morning, Marcus Bennett entered the conference room of Urban Flavors. This time, he wasn't wearing the plain clothes of a dishwasher or delivery driver. Instead, he wore his signature tailored suit, a subtle but undeniable reminder of who he was. Around the table, Logan Carter, Vanessa Blake, and other senior managers exchanged puzzled glances. "What's this about?" Vanessa asked sharply, her tone laced with impatience. Marcus didn't reply immediately. He walked to the head of the table, his movements deliberate, the room falling silent under the weight of his presence. Once seated, he looked directly at them, his voice calm but resolute. "I'm Marcus Bennett," he began, "the owner of Urban Flavors. And yesterday, I spent the entire day disguised as one of my employees, a dishwasher and a delivery driver, to see how my staff is treated." A stunned silence fell over the room. Logan's smirk disappeared, his face paling. Vanessa sat back in her chair, her confidence visibly shaken. Marcus's voice hardened. "What I witnessed was appalling. Logan, I watched you disrespect a young waitress, slamming a greasy tray onto her freshly cleaned table and accusing her of slacking when she had done nothing wrong. Your actions were not just unprofessional, they were dehumanizing. Logan fidgeted in his chair, his bravado replaced with nervous energy. Marcus turned his gaze to Vanessa. And you, he said, his tone cutting, mocked and humiliated someone you believed was beneath you. You tossed a napkin on the floor, kicked it further away, and sneered while telling them to hurry up. That wasn't leadership, Vanessa. That was cruelty. Vanessa's mouth opened, her expression a mix of shock and indignation. Mr. Bennett, Don't, Marcus interrupted, raising a hand. This isn't just about isolated incidents. This is about a culture of arrogance, disdain, and prejudice that you have allowed to fester. Urban Flavors was built on respect. But in this location, respect has been replaced by entitlement and abuse of power. The tension in the room was palpable. No one dared to speak. Marcus's words carried the weight of undeniable truth. He continued, his voice rising slightly. Let me be clear, this toxic behavior stops now. From today forward, Urban Flavors will be a workplace where everyone, dishwashers, servers, managers, is treated with dignity. There will be no more mocking, no more sneering, and no more looking down on anyone. If you think you can't adapt to this, you're free to leave. But if you stay, understand this. I will personally ensure that these values are upheld. The weight of his words settled over the room like a storm. Logan looked down, his hands clenched into fists. Vanessa's composure crumbled further, her face a mixture of defiance and discomfort. Marcus stood, his towering presence commanding the room. Respect isn't a privilege reserved for a select few, he said, his voice steady and unyielding. It's a right owed to everyone. And it's non-negotiable. His gaze lingered on Logan and Vanessa for a moment longer before he turned and walked toward the door. But before leaving, he stopped and said, Urban Flavors will reflect the values I built it on, or it won't exist at all. As the door closed behind him, the managers sat frozen, the enormity of what had just happened sinking in. Marcus had not only exposed their behavior but also issued a challenge, a demand for transformation that none of them could ignore. The days following Marcus Bennett's confrontation marked the beginning of a transformation at Urban Flavors. True to his word, Marcus didn't just make declarations, he took action. Policies were rewritten to ensure fairness, workshops were held to educate staff on respect and inclusion, and those unwilling to change were let go without hesitation. Vanessa Blake, once the epitome of entitlement, quietly resigned within weeks. Logan Carter, stripped of his arrogance, was given one chance to redeem himself, but only under strict oversight. The message was clear: no one was above the values Marcus had built his empire on. For the first time, employees across the restaurant felt seen and heard. Dishwashers worked with pride, knowing their efforts were appreciated. Waitstaff no longer feared unfair reprimands. And in the dining room, the atmosphere shifted, becoming a reflection of the respect that now flowed behind the scenes. Marcus's journey wasn't just about restoring a workplace. It was a statement. A statement that dignity belongs to everyone, no matter their title, role, or background. His actions resonated far beyond Urban Flavors, inspiring others to challenge systems of prejudice and demand better from those in power. As Marcus looked out over the bustling restaurant one evening, he smiled. The cracks he had seen were now filled with understanding and empathy. The foundation of Urban Flavors was stronger than ever, built not on success alone, but on the unshakable value of respect. Let Marcus's story remind us of the power of action and the courage to stand against what's wrong. If stories like this inspire you, subscribe to our channel and join us in spreading messages of hope, fairness, and change.